Assalamu alaikum. Well, thank you very much, first of all, IPS, for inviting me. I think it has been a good session, and we have listened to different views on how SCO is and what its potential is or what its future is. I have a slightly different take. SCO has now completed 20 years, 2 decades. So we have to see how is it evolved in the last 2 decades. Initially, of course, this is a very informed audience here. We know that when it was conceived and launched, primary preoccupation was security, combating terrorism, extremism, separatism, which is, of course, as stated earlier, is reflected in every document of SCO. And what were the motivating factors? China's concern with ETIM, Russia's concern with, problems in Chechnya and Dagestan. And Central Asian republics, for example, there was a civil war in Tajikistan, and there were other issues emanating from Afghanistan and the perceived, spillover of terrorism. So these were the motivating factors and the Shanghai 5 and then 2001 Shanghai this SCO was formed. Now, if you look at 3 organizations, because I think this has been a good discussion, but I was thinking that in the region, 3 organizations, multilateral organizations, are relevant for us. Correct me if I'm wrong. One is SAARC, the other is ECO, and the third is SCO. Now, if you do a layman's analysis of these 3 organizations, you'll find SAARC totally dysfunctional. It's not going anywhere. ECO is practically moribund. It's also dormant. While we have SCO, which has gained strength and evolving, and now, focusing more on regional cooperation, not to the exclusion of security and, security-related aspects. So both are moving simultaneously. I had a longish thing, but because of the paucity of time, I think Ambassador Brar gave a very good overview of so I will skip these points, but I think certain fillers. Now, I don't know whether this is an up-to-date figure, but maybe 2-3 years ago, of course, SCO has established various working groups. And there are 4 clusters or 4 pillars of SCO: political, security, economic, cultural. And under these 4 pillars, SCO operates. So they have established various working groups. There are about 29 cooperation mechanisms and 36 expert groups. And this may be slightly old figure, so one can perhaps check. And of course, we see that they have sectoral ministerial meetings, like, for example, defense ministers meeting, joint exercises, etc. And they have also established a SCO contact group on Afghanistan. I don't know what it's doing now, but there is a contact group on Afghanistan. Now, the very fact that starting from 8 countries, now we have 9 members. Addition of Iran has added a new dynamic in this regional architecture which is evolving. Security-driven as well as development-driven, connectivity-driven. So these are the 3 trends in SCO. Now, look at the list of the dialogue partners, observers, and one can make one's own conclusion that there is great interest. And look at the geographical spread. I think Cambodia is also there. Then we have Sri Lanka. And then we have other countries. If I'm not wrong, Saudi Arabia is also there. UAE. So why all these countries are interested in this organization? Because if you look at the trend of foreign policies of most of the countries these days, because of this contest between the United States and China, which is the most consequential competition or rivalry or contest affecting all of us, affecting all regions, sub-regions. So countries are hedging. They don't want to choose sides. Look at the joint statement which has been issued in Delhi, talking of multipolarity, rejecting unilateralism, rejecting protectionism, basically saying that we are no longer, accepting the alleged hegemony of the West led by the United States. This is the very clear message which has been given. So the very fact that so many countries are now interested to join in one capacity or the other this organization, I'm sure that it indicates that there is some potential and there is some future. Number two, all multilateral organizations are affected in one way or the other by this geopolitical permutations and contest between United States and China. South Asia, this region is different. We are not part of European Union. We are not part of OSCE. We are not part of ASEAN. They are more organized clubs, blocks. Here, things are evolving. There are differences. Ambassador Bassett rightly pointed out the differences and the disputes between India and Pakistan, disputes between US and China, of course, China and India. And what about Central Asian countries? Amongst themselves, even 2 months ago, I think this Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan or Uzbekistan, they were fighting on this water issues. They have their own dispute, but that does not mean that they are not keen to promote economic cooperation, economic linkages, and trade, and their access to outside world. Now, what does this statement says? I have 5 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. What does this statement says, Delhi statement? Please keep in mind, because there are analysts sitting here, there are researchers. You can do your further research. It says Central Asia is the core of SCO for, etc., regional peace, stability. So SCO is pivoting around Central Asia. And who is driving this? China, Russia, which are now practically in a strategic alliance against the United States because of, various factors. So China, heavyweights are there, region. Those countries which are far away in Pacific, they have already withdrawn. They can come back. But those who are your next door neighbors and your friends, or with whom you are trying to improve your relations, they will remain there. And they will impact the regional environment, security environment and development environment in this region, irrespective of what India does or does not do. In my view, China's influence in the region will grow, and SCO is emerging as a new security and development-oriented architecture, and Pakistan's diplomacy has to take into account these very fast changes which are taking place. And I think the last point is that Pakistan faces a lot of challenges, security challenges, development-related challenges, and I think we have very few choices before us in terms of our outreach, in terms of gaining diplomatic and strategic space, which our relations with China provide, which CPEC provides, and with our membership of SCO provides. Thank you very much. And I wish to thank all these speakers and participants